Hello, welcome to the Newcastle studio. In this video we're going to look at some mobility, stability and strength exercises for back pain. Let's jump in. The first mobility drill we'll look at is for those of you with a flexion-intolerant spine, aka you have difficulty bending forward. For this mobility drill you will need a trusty Swiss ball or a peanut. We start this by simply sitting on the ball. I'm going to ask you to say your prayers and clasp your hands together just like so. We then quite simply straighten our legs until we go forward in this kind of motion. Now you'll notice that I'm not physically and consciously bending my spine forward like this. The movement comes from the legs. However, the spine does go into this flexion motion. Now what you'll notice with this is because you are not physically flexing, you will get more motion here just using the legs, and this works as a fantastic way to increase your range of motion and tolerance with flexion. Once you have persuaded your body and brain that flexing forward is maybe not such a bad thing, and the pain levels start to reduce, you will be in a fantastic position to start then flirting with strength and stability type work. Rep wise with this movement, guys, we're going to look for at least 20 reps. However, if you feel you can do more, please do. Go until maybe your back starts to get a teeny bit sore. This is not a bad thing, but once that happens, just kill it dead. Stop there. Note the number of reps you've done and then try and build on it for the next time. Another excellent mobility option to open up later down the line when we work with strength and stability is the good old cat camel or cat cow, depending on what you call it. Very simple movement, but the return that you get from this is immense. Please don't write it off due to simplicity. Let's have a look. So I'm going to start in this all fours position. You'll see my knees are under my hips and my wrist is under my elbow, under my shoulder. From here, I'm going to bend my back and look down towards my belly button, and then slowly groove up and arch my back and look towards the ceiling. We're going to groove through this motion, guys, at around this speed and go to your limits of tolerance. So for example, if you have flexion intolerance in your lower back, you might find that here is where your issues start to bite on. Absolutely fine. Go to here and then get back. We're kind of poking the hornet's nest here. We're not looking to actively get ourselves into pain. We just want to get there, back off, get there, back off. Rep wise, guys, with this one, at least 10 is the minimum effective dose. However, I'm going to encourage you to go for, if you can, 30 reps in this, 30, where we just enter into this little bit of discomfort and then back off the other way. If you can comfortably do up to 30 reps, we will then start introducing the band. We will add a little bit of resistance to this. So I'm just going to build myself into this all fours position, guys. I'm just going to hook this band on the web of my hand here. It's not physically on my thumb, it's in the web of my hand. I'm going to loop it around my lower back here, and same again on the opposite side, so it looks like this, and we build into our all fours here, and exactly the same thing. You will find that the band, if I go loose and floppy, it wants to pull me this way. So we're going to fight against this band now, guys, in the exact same way. We are going to round our spine and look towards our belly button, and then very slowly on the way back, make sure it's under control, arch our back and look toward the roof. Again, the minimum effective dose with this is 10 reps. However, if you can get to 20 reps with the band, you are going to be in a fantastic position to start then building strength and stability. Keeping in line with the theme of mobility, let's now have a look at another mobility movement for particularly the lower back. Don't need any equipment for this one. Again, super simple but super useful. So we're going to start this exercise by lying down on our back. We're going to put our hands just across our chest and our heels. They don't need to be super close to our butt, but we're also not stretched out. We're about halfway between, and my knees, I'm pinching them together. Same with the ankles. Ankles and knees are pinching together. Now from here, I'm just going to start and tilt left and right. I want you guys to find your tolerance here. You might find that twisting is one of the things which really exacerbates your symptoms. So if you get just to here, that's fine. If you get just to here, that's fine. However, we're looking to get to the floor eventually by increasing our mobility here. Now you'll see that the top half of my body, I don't kind of follow it around. I want my shoulders and head to stay anchored to the ground, and it's just my hips, lower back and knees which are doing the movement here. Rep wise, we're looking for 40 of these, 40. That will equate to 20 on each side. Find your tolerance, guys. Get to that point where it just gets a tad uncomfortable, and then get yourself back. Of course, when we're talking about the lower back and back pain, it would be criminal if we didn't also look at a mobility drill for the hips. This is called the 90-90 drill, and it's one of my all-time favorites. It's part of my personal routine. It is incredibly simple, but it's also a little sinister. Let's take a look. So we're going to start on the floor, and we're sat on our butt. I'm going to put my feet flat on the floor like this, and I'm going to be resting back onto my hands or fists, whatever is comfortable. From here, I'm going to windshield wiper my legs like this, so the inside of my right knee is on the ground and the outside of my left. From here, I will slowly switch it, and we will go here. The likelihood is the knee, the inside of the knee, which is on the ground, is going to be the hip that gives you the most trouble here. A lot of people have trouble in internal rotation. The knee is on the ground, the other knee is in external rotation, and most people have more range of motion in this movement. And we're just going to groove through this, guys, here. Nice and slowly at around this pace. We don't need to be going crazy fast here. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So rep wise, we're going to look for 40 of these, 40, so that will accumulate to 20 on each leg. Now, this is fantastic, guys, for building both mobility and a little bit of strength in the hips. It's very rare that we get into these extreme ranges of motion, such as internal rotation here, in our daily lives, if we're sitting, walking, whatever it is. This is not a common range of motion. Enjoy it. You may have figured by now that I am a huge fan of simplicity, and the next exercise we're going to look at is quite simple, but the returns we get from it are fantastic. It's the good old-fashioned bird dog with a twist. So a traditional bird dog, guys, will look like this, where we are on all fours and we'll use our opposite arm and leg, in this case my right leg and left arm, to go in this position. Not a bad move, however, we can make it 10 times more effective by introducing one little concept, and that concept is this. While you're doing this, so if my left arm and right leg are the ones extending out, my right arm and left knee, I want you to think about scrunching them together in this motion, and notice the difference in your midsection and your lower back, that tightness that comes from that, simply scrunching these together. Ideally, guys, we would have it where the moving arm and leg, they don't touch the ground. However, if you find that you need to reset when you get back to the middle, this is absolutely fine. Don't panic about it. Around this pace, guys, here, I'm going to ask you to do, the minimum effective dose is 10. If you're squeezing right, 10 will nail this on the head. You'll feel this in the midsection. You may even feel it in the shoulder and knee, which aren't moving. This is absolutely fine. If you find that you can do 10 with the squeeze, and this is not a problem, you are probably ready to advance to the next version of this. So you've nailed 10 with that good squeeze. That's starting to feel easy now, and you're looking to broaden your horizons. We can introduce the band to this. I'm going to anchor this to a point where it won't fly off and slap me in the face. I'll ask you to do the same, please. So I have my band anchored to my squat machine here. You'll see it's quite sturdy, it's going nowhere. To do this exercise, to make it a little more difficult, the advanced version of the bird dog, I'm going to go in this position initially. Now, with the band being in my right hand, it automatically means that it's going to be my left arm, left leg, which goes back. And you'll see that when I get to here, the band offers a lot of resistance. I physically have to pull it this way. I am still squeezing together my left and right knee there. They're scrunching towards each other, just like this. And we end up in this position here. Again, minimum effective dose, guys, for this is going to be 10. You might find that you need to go all the way out here and really challenge yourself in this range of motion here. For a Brucey bonus, if you have finger or shoulder issues, you can do this the opposite way. It's just a little more awkward, where we hook our forefoot into the band and we take the tension. So we walk forward slightly and then we go here in this position. I personally prefer using the arm. However, if you have got problems, this is another fantastic option to still get the benefit from this. And exactly the same, guys, 10 reps really include that scrunch between the non-moving arm and knee. So you're advancing well, you've done the mobility exercises, you're finding the bird dogs, the regular and advanced sessions a little easy. We can make these even tougher using the trusty band. So much like the first exercise, we're going to hook this just on the web of our hand. So this is in my right hand here, and I will then hook this around the base of my left foot. So it looks like this. So the band kind of goes between my legs and it's hooked on base of my left foot, web of the right hand on here. I'm going to go into a regular bird dog and I'm going to go here. Now this, guys, is tough, and I often see a little cheat here where people will go one and then the other. This is not what we're looking for. We're looking for this to be equal and smooth on both fronts, and as ever we are including that crunch on the non-moving arm and knee. They're pushing towards each other and we end up here. This is, I'll say, a little bit more intense than the previous versions we have done. Don't be surprised if your shoulder and butt start to ache, as well as the midsection and the lower back. Perfectly reasonable. This is a challenging exercise, guys. Minimum effective dose is, yes, you've guessed it, it's 10. Once you can do 10, we will then look at introducing some weight to this exercise, where we look at the bird dog row. So here we are, you've introduced some mobility exercises to your back and hips. You've been through the bird dog variations with the regular movement and the banded movement. It is now time to introduce some weight to these stability type movements. Now, my choice, everyone knows this, I make no secret of it, my bias is the kettlebell. You can do this with a dumbbell, or if you're at home and you don't have this kind of equipment, a carrier bag with some tins or some bags of sugar in it will do exactly the same thing. Let's have a look at the bird dog row. So I'm going to use my weight bench here, and I have my right leg and left arm on the bench here, and my left leg, you'll see it's just on the floor for the time being. I'm going to take the weight in my right hand here, and I'm then going to put my left leg back in this bird dog position. As ever, I have the squeeze between my non-moving arm and leg. They are physically crunching into each other. I want you to think about taking your elbow to your ribs. It stays very close to your ribs, and go as far back as you can here. On the return, don't let the weight go back on the floor, keep the tension here, and we stay, it looks like this, in this position. You might find that you shake, you might find that your balance is a little off. This is not a bad thing. This quite simply means that your system, your muscles, your balance, it's being challenged, it's being worked, and this is how we progress. Rep-wise, I want you to think about going between the 8 and 12 rep range. And this is going to depend largely on the weight that you are using. Now, I'm using a 8 kilo kettlebell here. Your weight might be slightly less than this. If it is less, do the higher rep range, so you will do 12 reps. If you find that 8 reps is challenging and it kind of feels like you're starting to lose it a little bit after that, stick with 8, that's absolutely fine. 12 is the upper, 8 is the minimum effective dose.